I refuse to give my car to my stepdaughter. She didn't take it lightly. My husband and I have a 5-year-old son together, and he has an 18 female daughter, Sally, from his previous marriage. Sally is an entitled, manipulative young lady who has spent her entire life milking the child of divorce card in order to make her parents feel bad for her and give her everything she wanted. By the way, this comes from Status Silver 1772, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, as a result, she is now a lazy adult, has poor grades in school, no perspective, no job, and no desire to get a job or do something with her life. Although my husband and her bio mom are both responsible for how she turned out, instead of coming together and working towards helping her to do something, they prefer to blame each other, and they do everything they can to undermine the other one. For example, if my husband punishes Sally by not giving her spending money, her mom will immediately throw money at her. If her mom takes her car away as a punishment, my husband will immediately give her his car to use to go places. It's a very strange dynamic they have and very different from what he has with me. When I asked him why he's so different in terms of parenting my son with me versus Sally with her bio mom, he said, I am his wife, and I am a normal, sane woman who he can actually communicate with. Whatever, I feel like they are both wrong, but Sally is not my daughter, and I'm happy I don't have to spend too much time with her. Now that summer break has started, Sally is the most important problem in the world. Her car broke, and she needs one to use this summer to go places, meet her friends, go to parties, etc. Her mom's not willing to give her her car because she needs it to go to work. My husband needs his car to go to work, and neither of them is willing to buy her a new one. So Sally, the genius, found the perfect solution and asked me to give her one of my cars. To be clear, I have 2 cars, a big SUV that was given to me by my employer and a smaller one that I use when I go into town because it's easier to park. I refused and told her she can't use any of my cars. She insisted and said, I don't need 2 cars at the same time, but she needs one to get around. I told her she's free to use public transportation or get a job and buy one herself. Now Sally is going around to my husband's relatives complaining that I'm trying to exploit her and send her to work. I had a good laugh about this with my husband's sister, but my mother-in-law claims I could have just refused instead of telling her to get a job. I'm a little confused what's so bad about telling an adult to get a job. It's not like I sent a 12-year-old to work for her food or anything. And then some comments. Revolutionary Diet says, not the a-hole, hide your keys. Pleasant Ben says, ditto on the not the a-hole. Also make it clear to all that you will call the police if a car goes missing, and you'll tell them who took it. Boo Boo says, this OP because from what you've described, Sally wouldn't think twice about borrowing one of your cars. And if the SUV is a nicer vehicle, that is what she'll likely take, especially as her friends will all fit. Make it clear to both her and your husband that if either vehicle is ever missing, you will report it stolen. And press charges. Damascus says, if you start getting messages from her family members about how you are trying to manipulate her into getting a job, you need to confirm that crap as clearly as possible. You are trying to make her get a job and will continue to do so as long as you can. You have the opportunity to erase some of the damage done by her 2 enabling parents. Do not be deterred. Opie says, the strange thing is that my husband agrees with me. Her mother totally hates me and is teaching her that everything I say is BS. My husband's sisters agree with me, and my mother-in-law babies her because she's in her first grandchild. Oh, because she is her first grandchild. But I feel like no one in this situation is doing her a favor. I'm not trying to manipulate her, but her situation is so different to what I'm used to, or how I parent my own child, that it's insane. Like, how can it be so horrible to teach an adult responsibility? To want to give her direction in life? I don't know what they can expect to do with her, honestly. They can't support her for the rest of her life. And it's sad because she's capable and a healthy adult. Even people with disabilities work and want to do something with their lives. So she has no excuse. The majority of you advise me to hide my car keys because Sally would most likely try to steal one of my cars when I am not home. You are not far from the truth because she oftentimes does this with her mother's car. Meaning she will take the car when her mom is not home without asking her if she needs it later or ask for permission. So your advice makes a lot of sense. However, I refuse to do such a thing in my own home. I believe if I end up in a position where I have to hide my things in my own house, we'll have a bigger problem that needs to be solved. Also, where does this stop? Today I have to hide my car keys, later my money, later my purse? This is not the kind of life I want to have, and it never happened to me as a teenager/young adult. When I used to live with my parents, I knew where everything was. Car keys, money, documents, jewelry, etc. and I never took anything without asking. So after reading the comments, I decided to follow their advice, but in a less dramatic way. I sat my husband and his daughter down to have a chat. I made it clear in front of my husband that Sally insisted she uses one of my cars, and I do not agree with it. Then I told Sally that I know she sometimes takes her mother's car without asking, and warned her not to dare do something with my cars when I'm not home, because if she does, I will call the police and report the car stolen. She was shocked and asked me if I would stoop so low as to report her for stealing just for a car that I don't use or need anyways. I told her it's not me who would stoop so low, but her, because taking something that does not belong to you, especially after being told no, is the clear definition of stealing. So yes, I would report it. I think for the first time in her life, she understood there will be consequences for her actions, and she did not protest further. After this, I asked her to clarify in front of my husband how it is that me suggesting she gets a job makes me a person who tries to exploit her, based on what she told my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. My husband had no idea about it and just exploded. After hearing what happened, he told her it's good that we hear what she talks about behind our backs because he will give her even more reasons to complain. My husband told her she will not be seeing any money from him during this summer. Sally started crying and told me he can't do this. But my husband told her he can, and he will. His responsibility as her parent is to feed her, buy her clothes, and help her pay for school items. But that's it. She's an adult, and if she wants to party or see her friends, she should start paying for it herself, since she never appreciated anything she was given. Apparently, this is the hill my husband is willing to pass away on, and he even told his ex-wife about his plans, making it clear that if she wants to support Sally's activities this summer, she'll have to do it alone because he'll not contribute to anything that's not a necessity. So yeah, this is where we are at now. Sally stormed out of our house, and of course went to her grandmother to complain, but I am waiting. If mother-in-law opens any discussions about it with me, I'll make it clear she's free to support Sally as much as she wants. We're not stopping her. Some comments. Beachboy442 says, good to hear spouse supports ya. Not always the case. Floofienwifi says, obviously good talk. You use that shiny spine to good advantage. Limitless Megan says, a shame he waited until she was an adult to actually parent her. But hey, maybe him and his wife can actually get in the same bandwagon and make a dent in the child they collectively broke to get back at each other. I like you, Limitless Megan. Was that your name? Limitless Megan. Excellent point.